चाहे टिमटिमाना वरना आग में होगा दर्द जाना है जिद ये बड़ी मजबूरियां भी
You've got a lovely voice, Alicia.
That was a really cool music cover, Canon.
Thank you, guys. And that's exactly what brings us to today's topic on Campus Inside Out, Episode 5. And that is respecting boundaries. It is something that everyone faces but doesn't always talk about, you know. Like those invisible lines that keep us sane. Like when your friend wants to borrow your notes for the millionth time. Or someone keeps messaging you at midnight. And you're just like, why is this my life right now? But don't worry, we are not doing this alone. I've got an amazing squad here today. Rachel, who's always got the wildest stories. Jeet, who always comes up with modern solutions for modern problems. And Manav, the chill guy, who knows how to stand firm when it counts. Welcome, you guys.
Hello everyone, super excited to talk about this.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Hi everyone, can't wait to share what I've learned. Boundaries are such a game changer in college life.
Alright then, let's dive in. Okay, Jeet, break it down for us. What exactly are boundaries and why do they matter?
Well, think of boundaries as the rules of your physical, emotional, and digital presence. They are your way of saying, this is where I end and you begin. Without boundaries, you end up feeling overwhelmed, bitter, or even resentful. Healthy boundaries are about protecting your peace while respecting others.
Oh, I love that. It's not about building walls, but creating healthy fences. Rachel, can you share with us a moment when you realized that you had to set a boundary?
Oh, yes, there was this one time with my best friend. She'd always make last minute plans and expect me to drop everything. At first, I went along with it because I didn't want to upset her. But then I realized I was constantly rearranging my schedule and feeling drained. So one day I told her, hey, listen, I love hanging out, but I need a heads up to make it work. It was a bit awkward at first, but she totally understood, and now we plan things even better.
That is awesome, Rachel. It is important to speak up. Manav, do you think setting boundaries is tough, especially in relationships?
Yes, relationships thrive on boundaries. I was in a relationship where my partner expected me to be available 24/7. It was exhausting. I had to sit her down and say, I love spending time with you, but I also need time for myself and my friends. It felt vulnerable to admit that, but it actually made our relationship healthier.
That vulnerability is so real. Boundaries don't just protect your time, they can strengthen trust when communicated well. Alright, let's get real for a second. What do you do when someone just won't respect your boundaries? Jeet, how do you usually handle that?
It depends on the situation. If someone keeps crossing the line unintentionally, a gentle reminder usually works. Like, hey, I've mentioned this before that I am not free after 8 pm. Let's catch up tomorrow instead, etc. But if someone ignores your boundaries on purpose, you have got to be firm and consistent. Say, I have already explained you this and I really need you to respect it. I know it's uncomfortable, but believe me, it's worth it.
Yes, consistency is key. Rachel, have you faced a situation where someone has outright just ignored your boundaries?
Definitely, Alicia. I had a classmate who would constantly ask me for answers during exams, even though I told them before that I wasn't comfortable with it. After a few times, I said, I can't help you during the exams. It's important for both of us to do our own work. It was a bit awkward, but they got the message and stopped asking.
That's so true. I had a friend who'd always borrow money and never paid back. I finally had to say it. I can't lend you money anymore. It's creating tension between us. It was awkward, but it needed to be said.
And why do you think people push boundaries even when you've made them so clear?
Sometimes it's cultural. People don't realize they are crossing a line because they have never been taught to notice. Other times they are simply testing you to see if you will stick to your word. Either way, consistency is the key. If you back down, they'll assume your boundaries don't matter.
Alright then, let's get practical. Jeet, how do you say no without feeling like the bad guy?
Start by using I statements to make it about your needs, not their flaws. For example, instead of saying you are too demanding, say I need some downtime this evening. And don't over apologize. It weakens your stance. Just be firm and kind.
Yes, Jeet. I've found that people respect you more when you're straightforward. One time, a friend wanted me to join a club I had no interest in. I just said, thanks for thinking of me, but I've got too much on my plate right now. Simple and honest.
Honesty is important. Manav, what about maintaining boundaries with family? That can be tricky, right?
Yeah, trust me, it's definitely tough. My parents and other family members used to ask me for help with things, even during my busiest times like assignments. It got to a point where I knew I had to speak up. I said, I really want to be there for you guys, but we have to work out a way to manage things so I can give my full attention to both. It wasn't easy, but it helped us understanding each other better, and we started respecting each other's space more.
That is so important. Vulnerability is a big part of setting boundaries, isn't it?
Absolutely. It can feel scary to admit what you need, but it's the only way to build genuine connection. If someone flips out when you set a boundary, it says more about them than you. The people who truly care will adjust.
And what about respecting others' boundaries? How do you make sure that you're not crossing lines?
Communication is everything. If someone says, I need space, I don't take it personally. I even check in with people sometimes. Hey, am I overstepping here? It shows respect and build trust.
Exactly. It's about treating people how you'd want to be treated. When someone sets a boundary, I see it as them being honest and not rude.
Okay, this has been such an insightful chat. Thank you to Rachel, Jeet, and Manav for sharing their stories and tips. Remember, boundaries aren't about shutting people out, they're about creating a space for healthy and meaningful connections.
Thanks for having me. And guys, don't forget, saying no is an act of self care.
Absolutely. Boundaries are what keeps relationship and your mental health in check.
Totally. Setting boundaries is hard, but once you start, you'll wonder why you didn't do it sooner.
If you enjoyed this episode, share it with a friend who needs to hear it. You know which ones. Remember, boundaries are your way of saying yes to yourself. Catch you next time on Campus Inside Out. Stay kind, stay firm, and always protect your peace.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye bye.
I was in a relationship where my partner expected me to be available 24 by 7. It was exhausting. I had to sit down and say,
What? Say what?